Okay then my friends, in this lesson we're going to add some filter buttons above this codex section so a user can filter the types of codex entries that they see. So there'll be a button to see all of them, one to see just the characters, another to see just items, and another to see only locations. When we click on those buttons, it's going to filter the entries that we see in the browser. Now all of this filtering happens in the browser on the front end using Alpine.js, which is really simple to use. All we do is add an Alpine attribute to HTML elements to conditionally show or hide the content. Now on the docs it says there's currently 15 Alpine attributes that you can use, and they all have this same format where they start with an X, then a hyphen, and then whatever the attribute is called. Now we'll be using two Alpine attributes mainly to make this filter. The first one is going to be the X-date attribute, which allows us to create some state for an Alpine component. And we'll be using that to track whatever the filter value currently is, whether they've selected all characters, items, or locations. The next one is going to be the X-show attribute, which allows us to only show content when a certain condition is true. In our case, if we go back to the site, we're going to use the X-show attribute on each of these types of codex entries, each of these blocks. And we'll only show a particular type if that type matches whatever the filter the user selects, or if the all filter is active. So let's go to the code and give this a whirl. Okay, so the first thing we actually need to do is make sure that the Alpine CDN is hooked up to the application. Now, if we open up the resources folder, go into views, I'm going to show you we have this layout called app.blade.php, and this layout wraps the entire project. So every page that we have contains this layout. So up here, I've already added the CDN link to Alpine right here. That's in the starter project. If you're not using the starter project, make sure you get the CDN and just put that in the head somewhere inside your root layout. Okay, you can see also we've got HTMX right here as well, and Tailwind as well, which we'll be using later too. Alright, so next up we want to head to the Blade view, which outputs the codex entries, and that is the index view inside the codex folder. And inside that file, if you scroll down a little bit, you're going to notice this types variable, which is a list of 3 different codex types: character, item, and location. Now below that, we loop through all of those types and we output a block of code, this div right here for each codex type. And inside that div, we output each record for that type. So this code right here is output 3 times, 1 for each type of entry. And this is the thing we want to conditionally output. So we'll be using the X-show attribute on this element. So let's just do that now. Let's add the attribute, and then we're going to come back to the condition later on. All right, so now we need to make those filter buttons, and we're going to do that just above the list of types that we make so that they sit at the top of all the codex entries. Now, we only want to output these filter buttons if all of this content was fetched using HTMX, and it's being shown on the dashboard, the outline dashboard. And when I made this Laravel project with HTMX, I passed in an is.htmx flag into each view that HTMX could possibly fetch for the dashboard. And in fact, if we open the app folder and then go into the HTTP folder and then go to the codex controller, you're going to see that inside the index function, which is for that page we were just on, that we look for the hx-request header. And if that header is present, it means the request came from HTMX. And when that's the case, this variable is true, and we pass that variable, the HTMX flag, into the view. Okay, so then back in the view, we only want to output these filter buttons if the is.htmx flag is true, because that means we're on the outline dashboard viewing this, and we only want to output this on the outline dashboard. So let's say @if, and then inside parenthesis, we're going to say $is.htmx, and then we'll add on the endif at the end too. Okay, so inside this then, we want to output those filter buttons, right? So first of all, I'm going to make a div with a class of filters to put all of these in. And we'll also add that class to the styles to style the buttons later. And then I'm going to add a paragraph tag with the text filters and then a colon. And then finally, we're going to output a button for each filter. So let me start by making the first one. And that one is going to be to show all of the codex entries. Now, before we go any further with these buttons, let's just stop and think, what do we want to do when a user clicks on one of these? Well, we want to keep track of what button the user clicked on, right? And store some kind of value that represents that button in some local state, because then we'll use that local state value to decide down here what codex types that we want to output to the browser, depending on what button the user's clicked. Now, we saw on the docs a moment ago that to make some state for a component, we use the X-data attributes. But what element do we add that to? Well, we need to add it to an element which wraps any other content that relies on that state. So for example, if we added the x-data attribute to this filters div, then it means we'd be able to access and update the state anywhere inside this div, but we wouldn't be able to use it or access it down where we output the codex entries themselves because they are outside this div. So we need to add this attribute to an element then that wraps both of these things. And we can do that by scrolling up and adding it to this div right here with an ID of codex list. So let's do that then by saying x-data, then we set it equal to quotes, and then inside those quotes, it's going to be an object. And it's on this object we declare state properties for this component. So we'll make a property called filter, and as a default value, an initial value, we'll set this to be all as a string, so that when the page first loads, we're going to be showing all of the codex entries. All right, so now we want to update this state whenever we click on a filter button. So let's scroll back down here to the first button that we made, and I'm going to add on an Alpine event handler to this button, which is x-on, then a colon, and then the type of event, which is a click event, and we're going to set that equal to something. So this allows us to run some dynamic JavaScript code in the browser that we add inside these quotes, and that's going to get run whenever we click on this button. Now, what we want to do when we click on this button is update that little bit of state that we just made to be whatever value is represented by this button. Now, in this case, that would just be the string value all. So we can access the filter state property directly by just saying filter and then update it by setting it equal to the string all. And now when we click on this button, we're updating that local state value. Now, it's all to begin with when we first load the page, so it wouldn't really do much currently by clicking on this button because we're just changing it to all again. It's not changing. But we'll add 3 other buttons shortly, which will update the value to something else. Before we do that, I also want to bind a dynamic class to this button so that we can style it when this filter is active. Now, in Alpine, we can bind to an HTML attribute by adding a colon before it. So, for example, colon, and then class. And in this example, we want to set this equal to an object where the property name would be a dynamic class that we want to apply to this element. And the value would be an expression that evaluates to true or false. And the class then only gets output to the element when it's true. So we're going to add an active class to this button when the value of the filter state is equal to all for this button. Does that make sense? All right, so that's one button down. Now let's do the rest. All right then, so what I'm going to do is actually just copy this thing right here, and I'm going to paste it in 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And then we just need to change what we're updating the state to be when we click on it, and the text as well. So in this case, instead of the filter being all, it's going to be character. So this will be the filter for seeing the characters. We'll type characters here. And then for the active class, it's going to be character. Then the next one, let's click on both of these and we'll update that one to item, like so. And then down here, the text for the button is going to be items. And then the final one, we'll click on these and it's going to be for location. And the text for these is going to be locations. All right, so we have all the buttons, right? And every time we click on one of these buttons now, we're updating the filter state to match whatever this value is right here. Now, what I want to do is just very quickly beneath this div, output another div, which is then going to use the x-text attribute, which is another Alpine attribute, and it dynamically outputs some text for us that might change. And I want to output whatever the value of the filter is, just so at the minute when we click on these, we can see that text inside this div, and it's going to put whatever text that is inside this div for us. Now, lastly, before we view this in a browser, I just want to add some CSS, and I'm going to copy this from my course file, so feel free to do the same thing. Then go to the app.css file and just paste it in right here. So we have that div with a class of filters, right? This one right here, and that's what we're styling. We apply these tailwind classes. So margin, we say display flex, give it a gap of 2, item center, justify end. And then the buttons within the filters div, we say border dashed, border 1, some padding in the Y direction, X direction, rounded corners. And then for the active class, so remember that is whatever button we click on, then we say the background is grey, text white, border solid. So let's save this now and see if it works in the browser. Okay, so we can see those buttons, and also we can see that currently we're outputting this text all, but when we click on these and we update the state, it updates the text right here to be whatever that state is. Item, location, character, all. All right, so that's all working, and it looks quite nice as well thanks to that CSS. Okay, so now instead of outputting the value of the filter in the browser, we want to use that value to conditionally show codex entries. For example, if a user clicks on all, then we show everything. If they click on character, then we only show characters. Now, if we scroll down here, we say that we do that by adding this x-show attribute to the div, which gets output for each codex type, character, item, and location. So we only want to output then this div if the type of the entry matches the current value of the filter, or if the filter value is all, because if all was selected, it means everything should be shown. So then, let's say that x-show is now equal to filter triple equal to all, or, so double pipe, if filter is triple equal to whatever the current type is that we're iterating. And we have access to that type in this loop, which loops through all of the types, right? So we can just output that type in double curly braces, and this is Blade syntax, by the way. Whenever we want to output a variable that Blade has access to, we use these double curly braces. Okay then, so now whenever a user clicks on a button, it should filter what codex entries they see in the browser. Okay then, so let's try this out. I'm going to click on one of these, and by the way, initially it's on all, and we do see all of the things. If we click on characters, we only see characters, items, locations. Awesome. So that is all working, but there is one small problem, and it's only a small problem. But if I click on one of these, for example, characters, and then add a new codex entry, which is going to be a character, let's just call him Ben, and then say blah, blah, blah. If I now click on this, then it resets the filter to all. And that's because we're sending an HTMX request to the server, and it's responding by sending back the fragment again for all of this list. I remember in that fragment, we said that the initial state of the filter property is going to be all. So it's kind of hard coding that into the fragment and then sending it back to the browser. Does that make sense? So that when we get that new fragment and it updates in the browser, we're then resetting the value of the filter and we see everything again. Now, I personally don't want that for this project. I want it to be that if I'm filtering by characters or items or whatever it is, and then I add a new character and press create entry, then it only shows the characters over here still. So we're kind of preserving that filter state in the browser. So we're going to address that problem in the next lesson.